Hi, this is Ilaria from Feet-Ness, and today we're going to do this quick workout, foot workout, with some barefoot exercises, sitting and standing, with Rescue Loop, and also with this special mat from Naboso. So this mat has the power to enhance our neurosensory stimulation that we can get to the feet. So as you know, we always say the feet are really rich in nerves ending. So by stimulating them farther, not just barefoot, but with this texture basically, we can better connect them to the central nervous system. We can have the feet have a bigger and more important role in setting up our posture, which, as we know, is determined by the information that the brain gets from the skin on the feet, the TMJ, the internal ear, and the eyes. So I'm going to place my Rescue Loop down onto the floor, and we're going to start just standing on the mat. Feet hip width apart. Close your eyes for a second. So we take one of those receptors away, and we just let it be. We feel, as always, we do a little assessment, but now we have something different underneath, right? So just with the eyes closed, lean into the toes, and then lean back to the heel. And again, you lean into the toes, and you lean back to the heels. And then you can shake off the knees, keep them like nice and relaxed, and you can play with a little bit of supination and pronation. Okay, just feel, right? Those areas that don't usually touch the floor, when we move the foot, get to touch, get to have a different sensation. Now, we're just going to shake it off. I want you to take it in for a second. We try to give a little reassessment at the end. In this initial assessment, as always, you know, like answer yourself questions. How does it feel? How do I feel today? Do the 2 feet feel the same? Do I feel like one gets more pressure from this mat, more response from the mat than the other? Why that? Do I stand evenly? Is one leg shorter than the other? Maybe the legs are the same, but the issue comes from the SI joint. Just not necessarily you need to give yourself the answers, but ask yourself the questions. Now, shake everything off, relax, and just go with a little bit of a little run, little like, you know, this is one exercise that we do on the reformer, right? This is exactly the reformer kit, right? The small mat and the little strip for the side of the reformer, for the front edge of the reformer. Now you're going to curl and you massage the top of the toes. You stretch it nicely. As always, you can also bring the foot back if that's better, if that's less intense. And then on the other side, same thing, and you massage. Feels really nice. And then back here, and now here we're going tiny little circles, right? So when we do these circles, we shift the place of the foot. It gets more pressure on the floor, and it does feel different. Now reverse, go the other way. Very good. And now we make it a little harder. Now as the knees go to your right, you want to tilt the feet to the left. And then opposite, when the knees go left, you tilt the feet right. Okay, and do some of this. Let's try to really focus on getting this lemniscate, this opposition in between ankles, feet, and knees. Perfect. Now we go back to the hip width apart position. We wiggle the toes. We don't want too much weight on the toes. And now that we're sure we can handle good weight bearing in between the ball of the foot and the heel, we're going to lift the toes up. We spread them as much as we can. We don't need to be perfect, but we want to pull these 10 toes apart. And keeping them apart and long, we're going to then land them down onto the mat. And again, you're going to go lift, you're going to go spread, and then you're going to land. One more time. You're going to go lift, Spread as much as you can and land. Very nice. Now one more exercise standing up and then we go sitting down. We're going to try to lift the two big toes up, and then we switch, the big toes go down, the other 8 toes come up. And then again you switch, big toes, and then switch, 8 toes. And switch, and switch, and switch, and switch. We have one more, and switch, and release. Shake it off for a little bit, for a second, and we go sitting down on the floor. And now I want us to add to this sensation that we get from the mat some exercises with Rescue Loop. So I know that some of the drills that I did standing up are not easy and doable for everyone, right? It's not always I can lift, spread, and land, and not always I can alternate big toe and the other lateral toes. So let's try to get there with a little more help. So now with the toe strap around the big toe and just a little bit of tension, not much, we're gonna lift all the toes up. So the 10 toes are up, and then we start waving down from the little toe, then the one next to it, and then again, and we stop with the big toes up. And then you release the big toe. And again, everything up. And you wave down from the outer toe all the way. We keep the big toe up if we can, and then release. This is a drill that helps many people that couldn't just lift the big toe alone. So again, 2 more times. Lift everything. Wave down from the lateral, hold the medial foot, the big toe, and release. 1 more time. Up, wave, 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 lift, and then release. Very good. Now relax for a second, move the toes a little bit. And now I want to repeat also, lifting everything, spreading and landing, and relax. And again, lift, spread and land. And again, up, spread and down. Now, let's see if we can now do that yoga toes little game. Let's try with the Rescue Loop with the tension to lift the big toes up. And then we switch, the big toes go down, the other 8 toes go up. And then again, big toes and switch, big toes, switch, big toes and switch and release. Next, we're gonna go with the bigger movement. We stayed with the whole foot on the mat until now. Now we're going to leave the heel on the mat, we lift the front of the foot, we spread everything. So we start using also the extrinsic muscles. Spread down, scrape that mat, pull it in and release. Spread, down, pull and lift. This is what I call the towel exercise, right? It's a global movement. It's not as specific as what we did before. But it is really good to connect the lower leg to the foot, so extrinsics to intrinsics, and to build with a kind of relatively simple exercise the core of the foot, okay? Let's do one more. Lift, spread down, exactly like we did before. You curl, you dome, you lift, and then release it down. Really, really good. We want to picture these feet getting like more surface on the ground, being a better balance for our posture. So as space-wise, and then also more efficient because of the stimulation that we're giving them, and more coordinated and more connected to the postural alignment and to the posture of the whole body. Now let's change the strap. We're gonna put the feet around the foot strap around the feet like we usually do, but instead of staying sitting down, we actually come up to standing. So here we create just a little tension at the spring, not much. we get into a nice posture. So instead of falling in anteversion and sometimes overpronating, we want to get the pelvis in the right position so that the foot right away lifts up and it's not falling into that overpronation. Now, hands on the hips. We try not to move the pelvis, but of course we move from the pelvis, because from this position, one foot stays, the other foot turns out and comes back. And again, turns out and back. We keep alternating. Turn and parallel. Turn out one and back. And again, turn and back. This is to get into the glute max, right? A lot of times when we fall into that anteversion, there is a little internal rotation. The deltoid of the hip, the deltoid far above is completely shut down and everything else happens, right? So to create more connection from the pelvis and manage better those situations of internal rotation, overpronation, bunion, and so on, we need to get the awareness and the strength from here, okay? Now, there are many combinations we can use, but we move on into a proprioception exercise, specific proprioception. So this is for the navicular bone. And why did I pick this one? There are many at the foot, right? The whole proprioception is exercise specific, is foot and knee, most of them, right? Then a couple of the hip and so on, but the foot and knee are the most important one, right? So navicular, because the navicular bone is that part of the midfoot that really manages a lot of situations. The overpronation, the beginning of the bunion situation. So for that reason, I picked that one. I'm standing on my foot and I need to fix it, right? What do I need to fix? I need to fix the head of the first meta. I lift the big toe up. I need to fix my cuboid and I need to fix the medial part of the heel. So I create like a lemniscate intention and my foot is strong and fixed to the ground. My knee is straight, and from this position I try to create an internal rotation of the tibia. By going in internal rotation, the talus basically kind of like stimulates, let's say, the navicular bone. So what do? We fix everything around so that the navicular bone has a little bit of movement, right? We slack it a little bit, it becomes more intelligent. That's what we say usually, right? So here, what's the goal? The goal is eventually to do this with closed eyes and the foot up. Otherwise, hold on to a wall, keep your other foot as a kickstand to manage the balance in the beginning, and play in this position for about 1 minute, okay? The shakiness, the imperfection is normal. It should be there. If it's too perfect, I need to get to the next level. Otherwise, I'm not actually giving any stimulation for the proprioception that I'm looking for. We switch, we go to the other side. So quick recap, the foot is down, I fix head of the first meta with the big toe up, the cuboid and the medial heel. And here I go, I stay, straight knee, internal rotation of the tibia, and then I play with this position. I find that it's a lot easier on this side. So that's something that I don't like. Why is so much easier on this side and it was pretty challenging on the other one? So always important to pay attention for anything, proprioception, strength, stretching, to these big imbalances, right? It's not too big, but it's important to pay attention to the differences. Release. And now I want you to do with me one last exercise that I find being very, very important in general, because it's one of those exercises that is really good for plantar fasciitis. It's really good for balance. It's something almost like a standing reformer that we can do to really maximize what we did, get it back to the standing position, and keep what we have done so far throughout the day, right? That's why we do it. It's for wellness, for feeling better, for playing better, running faster, and having fun living our life. So now we move here close to the wall. Let me move the rescue loop away. This is a 2x4, and I place the same mat on top of it, okay? So I'm going to go with the feet parallel. I could do a Pilates stance or any position that suits you now. I could do it with one leg only, with one foot only. That's oftentimes I do it, but let's keep it simple. So from here, I already have a nice stretch below level, right? Now what do? I roll, it's already there, but I put more weight on the front of the foot and I go up, 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 and I raise. And then I lower down with strength, okay? When I go down, I don't just use gravity, I actually want to push down as if I had like compression springs underneath my heels. So I go up on my toes and then strong going down, 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 down. One more time. Up on the toes, on the ball of the foot, on the forefoot, and I press down, push, 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 push. Now, we're going to do a more complex exercise. We go up on the toes. Now I bend my knees. I lower my heels down as much as I can. I can't touch, but I do my best, and then extend. Let's do one more time. You go up on the toes, bend the knees, heels down to the floor, and extend. Now reverse, bend, lift, stretch up. Now stay tall, top of the head reaching up to the ceiling, heels reaching down to the floor. One more time. You bend, you lift, you stretch, and you lengthen, 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 lengthen. Really good. My feet feel amazing. It feels so good that now I keep this mat under my feet. And thank you again for joining me. I'll see you soon.